Welcome to another bucket commentary review. In this video, I'll be giving my analysis impression of all the basically the RTX 5060 lineup 16 and the 8GB variant, and also the RTX 5060. Firstly, let's talk about the RTX 5060 Ti lineup, the 16GB and the 8GB variant. Let me tell you quickly some of what I basically will say about it. 16GB variant should be the only variant that you should be buying from this. The 8GB variant of the 5060 Ti, stay away, don't buy. As it's already 2025, it's obsolete. On paper, also, now let's really get into more detail about the RTX 5060 Ti lineup. First off, the RTX 5060 Ti 16GB is, on paper, should be cheaper than a 4060 Ti 16GB variant, which was showed in the video was making bucket load of money selling you that 4060 Ti 16GB variant, and that this basically you were getting scammed and getting ripped off. And 5060 Ti on 16GB on paper, if we can find an MSRP, it is indeed a better deal than a 4060 Ti 16GB variant. This was what I was thinking of Nvidia trying to soften the blow with the absolute disaster shitstorm of basically the RTX 50 series lineup. With the RTX 5060 Ti 16GB, they aren't asking, or they're willing to lower the margin and try to hide it. However, well, the community found out about the Nvidia cloak and dagger thingy about the 5060 Ti 8GB variant, and obviously RTX 5060 is still probably gonna be 8GB. Yeah. Also, shocker. 8GB is absolutely useless, as it's going to be unable to use the Nvidia AI features that they have been hanging on about: frame generation, ray tracing. Guess what turning ray tracing and turning on those frame generation do? It uses more VRAM. And guess what more VRAM? And guess what? 8GB isn't capable of turning the ray tracing, turning on the frame generation at 8GB variant, and for the shocker, 16GB variant has absolute no issue with frame generation and ray tracing, and they don't lose as much performance as the 8GB variant, because again, it has the VRAM for the AI task load, which kind of shows off again. For these AI Nvidia feature, you need VRAM, which is 16GB, which is for the 5060 Ti. As well as Nvidia also, shocker, on the 50 series launch, announced several VRAM saving feature. You know, AI texture AI compression. Is there any fucking video game that has these Nvidia AI compression? No, I heard jack shit about it, and all I have heard about Nvidia with the trying to give you more performance with this AI is Nvidia DLSS 4.0 with on driver or on the developer side. Again, they push for DLSS quality, which really isn't there, which most reviewers are like, yeah, it gets you like single digit extra performance. It doesn't really make you go from, yeah, my gaming performance is shit to good. And by the time you are turning on DLSS performance mode, your output for these 8GB VRAM cards, you are not native. You don't even native 1080p texture. You end up with 480p, 720p texture, high texture, and they still look pretty muddy on the 1080p. Even though NVIDIA has like the best AI DLSS upscaling, I'm sorry, 1080p should not be using DLSS and should be using the good old proven methodology of anti-aliasing, TAA. As yes, it's not the best as native 1080p texture, but guess what? Developers, they have spent decades mastering TAA and has given very, very comparable visual from native to TAA upscale. DLSS, on the other hand, is new kid on the block, new, and NVIDIA has to do a heavy lifting, and a lot of developers like, yeah, we really don't want to implement DLSS at 1080p as on for 1080p gaming, which also moves on to the next part of a lot of reviewers. When they review the 5060 Ti lineup, the 8GB variant is also criticized for not having enough fucking VRAM. Shocker for 1440p gaming and some 4K gaming. Again, 8GB completely collapses in 1440p and 4K gaming because guess what? Those texture, even with all these DLSS performance mode, isn't unable to fit into the fucking 8GB of VRAM. As well as, shocker, again, even the RTX 5060 Ti 8GB, also in 1080p, in reviewers found out that the 1% low and the performance was a lot lower when you're kind of going into nearing the 8GB capacity, because shocker again, when you get near the VRAM capacity, the system, the computer is kind of readying your RAM as DRAM or SSD as your DRAM backup in case it overflows unexpectedly and you don't end up getting some oops moment. And again, that is basically summary of basically what a lot of the reviews were talking about the RTX 5060 Ti lineup of the 16GB variant and the 8GB variant. So, what are my recommendation to you if you must buy an RTX 5060 Ti 5060 Ti lineup? 1. Buy the 16GB variant first and foremost. If not, and you have to buy a RTX 5060 Ti 8GB, go look for the older RTX 4060 Ti 8GB to hopefully get it cheaper and get as cheap NVIDIA as 8GB as possible as it is. If not, then you have to unbegrudgingly buy the RTX 5060 Ti 8GB if all other NVIDIA or the 4060 Ti 8GB get sold out. And basically, yeah. Now, on to the other half of this video, which is the RTX 5060 Ti. This GPU is the GPU that they want to hide away from all these tech reviewers on the internet. And they are not, and multiple reviewers have confirmed NVIDIA is not sampling them. Just like the RTX 5060 Ti 8GB, a lot of reviewers that you are going to see on this YouTube or whatever video audio platform it gets uploaded in will have to go to retail themselves and buy the graphics card, and most reviewers don't do that, and as a result you will not see a review of the RTX 5060 8GB at all. This graphics card, unlike the RTX 5060 Ti, is definitely locked onto 1080p, and thanks to the 8GB of VRAM, as I previously alluded to, it will be 1080p DLSS and ray tracing is basically useless at NVIDIA ever since the 20, 30, 40, and now the 50 series. 4th generation of 60 class graphics card that is the most popular and the most people will buy them are useless for ray tracing. They will have absolute dog shit performance with ray tracing, as well as their performance in rasterization is stagnated 1080p, 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 1080p. 1440p, nah. It's fucking like pulling a teeth out of a fucking mouth that refuses to get the fuck out, okay? NVIDIA really fucked its 60 class card 40 and basically has made it so that this graphics card generation class is unable to really turn on ray tracing, and for 1080p gaming, some of the lineup has resorted to fucking DLSS for 1080p gaming. Also, frame generation, guess what? It's useless in this because, again, most reviewers that review graphics cards are like, frame generation is used for these 5060s is useless as the baseline doesn't even reach the recommended 90 FPS for smooth frame generation performance, as again, you need one, the graphics card to natively render in that resolution of your choice, in everyone's case, 90 FPS, and as well as that monitor that you're looking at, watching, have to display that frame. So, for frame generation X2 mode, you want your monitor to be at 160 FPS mode, and if you are with frame generation X4 mode, you want a 360 Hz monitor. So yeah, again, this is with the recommended baseline of 90 FPS. So imagine so basically frame generation, unless you have all these ultra high refresh rate 240 Hz monitors, which thankfully is getting cheaper, is the only way that these frame generation capable graphics card is going to be able to fill up those refresh rates. But yeah, anyway, I think the RTX 5060 or 60 class graphics card overall is trash. You should stay away, don't touch it, and yeah, again, if you are begrudgingly buying this, I think buy RTX 3060. If there's no more 3060 12GB, okay, time to go for 4060 8GB. If not, then you buy the absolute stinker fest that is the RTX 5060. Alrighty, that's it for the basic analysis impression. Time for the summary. Basically, RTX 50, the only graphics card in this video I have said that is worth buying is the RTX 5060 Ti 16GB variant. The RTX 5060 Ti 8GB, RTX 5060 is already obsolete at the launch in 2025. Don't touch, don't buy, unless you are absolutely stuck, hell-bent on NVIDIA, and I just want a NVIDIA graphics card. And if you are, however, alternatives, if you're okay with a bit of experimental and absolute saving even more money and value, you get the Intel Arc Battlemage B580, or if you don't mind paying a little bit more premium from the B580, but at the same time you're not paying the NVIDIA tax, you go get an RX 7600 and the RX 7600 XT, or should AMD launch the RX 9600 and the RX 9600 XT, I think those are going to be better choice than the RTX 5060 Ti 8GB and the RTX 5060 if you're not locked into the NVIDIA ecosystem. Anyway, that brings the end to another bucket commentary review. If you like these videos, do the typical like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.